Hey friends, welcome back. It is day 20 of your 10-20-30 day Pilates journey. First of all, congratulations for making it this far. We are officially 2/3 of the way done, and today is our second big check-in. So I invite you to check in with yourself and see how you are feeling. Go ahead and go back to your notes all the way from day one. Pre-workout, post-workout, do you see any differences? Do you see any patterns? Do you see positive change in your body, mind, and spirit? If so, I would love to hear about it. Please feel free to share either via email on the comments here on YouTube, or you can post on your stories on Instagram and tag me at Terriell Samuels. Today for day 20, we're going to be doing a cool cat Pilates workout, and I think this is going to be my favorite day of the 30-day Pilates journey, just because all these exercises feel so great and they're just really wonderful for strengthening shoulder girdle, for being really aware of our spine and like getting a nice stretch in our hips as well as our back. So it's going to be good. Let's go ahead and get you moving. So I'm going to have you start on all fours, and we're going to start with our classic cat position. So when you're in all fours, you want to make sure that your hips are directly over your knees and your shoulders are directly over your hips. And then we're just going to round through the spine, finding our C curve. And as you C curve, think of lifting your abdominals, your belly button up and in towards the spine to help you flex that spine a little bit more. Dropping your tail and your sits bones down towards your knee creases, and really dropping your head down heavy, letting that top of the head reach towards the floor. And then we'll go ahead and come into an arched back position. We know this well, lifting the gaze forward and up, the crown of the head forward and up, and releasing your sit bones, that number 11, all the way up towards the sky. And we'll go ahead and round again. Exhaling as you round this time, pulling that waist up and in. And inhaling to arch the back, lifting the tailbone, lifting the crown of the head. Let's do that one more time. Exhaling to round. Oh, this is such a good stretch. And I invite you to press into the tightest part of your spine here, reaching that up towards the ceiling, and then inhale to arch through the back. Now we'll go ahead and come in to a nice neutral place. So your eyes are down so that your head is in line with the spine. Your eyes are looking kind of straight ahead at the frontage of your mat. And then we're just going to start to shift our weight forward, shift our weight back. And this is called new cat, forward and back. And all you're really doing is keeping your spine at neutral. So you're not doing any funny business with your number 11. It's staying supported with a tight jacket. And you're just letting your shoulders and your hips glide as you shift that weight. Now let's fire up the core, tuck your toes under, lift your knees off an inch, and continue to shift forward, continue to shift back. And we'll take 5 more here. And then just take your time on this. We're going to stay up for the same amount of time. Just take it easy. 3 more forward and back. 2 more forward and back. 1 more forward and back. And then go ahead and drop your knees gently down to the floor. You can untuck your toes. Sit back onto your heels. Now, as you take this child's pose, I want you to make sure that your shins and thighs are parallel so you're not in an open knee position. Your legs are kind of directly underneath you. And then we're going to round through the back. So you're pulling your tail energetically under, pressing through your ankles and shins, and you'll start to come forward in a round position, keeping your head dropped, and then bring your tail back. We want to stay round. So we're still shifting that weight forward and back. Press into the shins, round through the spine. I'm pushing up into my upper back here, keeping the head dropped, getting a really deep stretch. We're going to take this a little bit further. So I want you to keep your head down, your spine rounded as you push forward, and begin to squeeze your glutes as you go a little bit further until the front of your hip crease opens up. You'll feel a nice stretch through those hip flexors as you continue to push your rib cage upward towards the ceiling. My butt is squeezed pretty tightly here to help facilitate this movement. And then I'll let it go and I'll sit those heels back into my round shape. And again, rounding up through your spine, squeezing the glutes to flatten out the front of the hip flexors, really pressing down through my shins, and then bringing it back. Let's do 2 more. Rounding all the way up, pressing through those shins, squeezing the glutes, pushing those hip bones forward, and then bringing it back one more time, rounding through, pressing through those shins, and then bringing it all the way back. Now just sit back onto your heels and rest here for a moment. Take a big breath in and a big breath out, and then we'll go ahead and make our way on to all fours again. And we're just going to take your one leg out to the side. I want you to step it to the floor with your toes pointing forward, and it's kind of right and in line with your hip. And we'll just go into our classic cat here, rounding through the back and then arching through the back. And if you need to move slower because you're feeling tight or you feel like you need to make that range of motion smaller for safety, please feel free to do what you need to do. All right, we'll go ahead and do one more round. And flatten. Ooh, I feel a really good stretch through my inner thigh here. That is tight. And then we'll go ahead and take that other leg out to the side, taking a step, and then rounding through and arching and rounding through and arching. One more time, round it through and arch. And then go ahead and come to neutral with 2 knees underneath you. From here, we're going to do a fun one called Sexy Cat. So we're going to start actually with just kind of finding your neutral spine, a nice flat back. And I want you to just start to wag your tail just from side to side. And as you do that, I want you to try to keep equal, even weight through your knees and through your shins. So you're not like leaning that weight over side to side. That's a different thing. So we're just wagging that tail. And essentially what you're doing is a small side bend through the lower part of your spine in order to wag your tail from side to side. If it helps to imagine your sits bones, that number 11, as headlights of a car or flashlights shining from side to side, maybe like spotlights, that is also something that you can imagine here. Good. And we'll go ahead and find the center. Now what we're going to do is bring this into a circle. So I'm going to have you wag your tail over to the right, and we'll start with a half circle. So we're going to bring the hips underneath you, just moving the low back and the hips into a rounded shape position until you find the center. And then you'll go ahead and arch your back and center up. And then we'll do it again to the right. So we'll just stay on one side. To the right, wag that tail, pull it under, and then arch into the center. Let's do that again. To the right, half circle under and center. And then we'll take it to the left. To the left, wag that tail, pull it under, round shape, and then arch it up in the center. And then we'll take it to the left, pull it under into your round shape and to the center, arch. One more time, take it to the left, under in that round shape, and arch. Good. And now we'll go ahead and start to circle all the way around in one direction. So I want you to take it to the right and find as much movement as you can as you pull that tail, pull your sit bones all the way under to circle around all the way to the left side. And then keep that circle going as you arch through the left all the way over to the right again. And then we'll continue to circle those hips around. And I want you to let this movement come from your low back and your hips again as much as you possibly can as you draw that circle all the way around. And try not to shift that weight too much from leg to leg. So we're trying to stay really centered on our base of support. And then as we come into our arch for this last time, we'll go ahead and circle 3 times to the left all the way over. Make sure you wag that tail and then pull it under. Just keeping your head and neck still in that neutral space. And around through the right into arch, and then to the left again, all the way under, all the way around into arch. Let's do that one more time, all the way around and under. And then all the way around back into that low back arch. And then we'll stretch it out here again by just rounding through the spine. Good, and then pulling that tail under. Now we'll go into a little variation of new cat. So I want you to take your right leg and cross it over your left. So your thighs are stacked one on top of the other. We're going to kind of come into a neutral spine, and this is a nice feel good cat. So we're just going to rock back and forth shifting our weight forward, shifting our weight back. And your spine hangs out kind of neutral. It can curl under, but I want you to keep your tight jacket lightly zipped so that you still have some abdominal support. And this should be a feel-good stretch in your hips and your back. Good. And then let's go ahead and come into neutral so that you can uncross that right leg. Take the left leg and cross it over the right. And then once your thighs are joined, you can just shift forward and back and just try to keep both your knees on the mat as you do this as well. Both shins making contact. Good. We'll take a few more on this side for 3. And for 2. And for 1. Awesome. And then go ahead and make your way back to neutral. Now from here, we're going to think back to yesterday's 11 lines. And we'll come into a nice arched back position. So we're going to start from our number 1 and go through each line into a round shape. So we'll drop the head down 1, neck 2, shoulders 3, ribs 4, waist 5, 6, 7, low back 8, sacrum 9, tailbone 10, hips, sit bones 11. And then we'll reverse it starting at 11. So release those sit bones 11, tail 10, sacrum 9, low back 8, waist 7, 6, 5, rib cage 4, shoulders 3, neck 2, head on 1. Now we're going to do something fun. So we're going to go from the outside, from the ends to the middle. So your head and your sits bones, your number 1 and your number 11, will pull into your round back position at the same time. So 1 and 11 go, 2 and 10 go, 3 and 9 go, 4 and 8 go, and then 5 and 7, and the number 6 reaches up last until you're in that full round shape position, and then we'll reverse from the center out to the end. So we'll start with 6, and then 4 and 5. No, start with 6. Let's start over, my bad. We'll start with 6, 5 and 7, 4 and 8, 3 and 9, 2 and 10, 11 and 1. And then we'll do that again, starting from the ends. 1 and 11, 2 and 10, 3 and 9, 4 and 8, 5 and 7, and 6 at the end. And then one more time, we'll unfurl from the center, number 6, 5 and 7, 4 and 8, 3 and 9, 2 and 10, and 1 and 11 release. And then from there, go ahead and come out of your cat position to a seated position, and you are all done. That last counting was a lot for my brain, but we all made it to day 20. We finished it up with that cool cat mat. I hope those exercises helped you feel a little bit more mobile through your spine and hips today. Feel free to take any one or few of those with you and add them into your daily stretches and warm-ups. They are just really good for moving your body in a really nice feeling way. So don't forget also to do your 20-day check-in, and I will see you on the mat for day 21 tomorrow.